Zhang Guolao was one of the legendary Eight Immortals of Taoist mythology. He was no ordinary figure. He's a paradoxical blend of wisdom, mystery, and pure chaos. But who was this immortal riding backwards on a donkey, and what made him so revered? Zhang Guolao is said to have been born during the 8th century BC. So, I will try to explain. He was born a man, but his essence, so what he really was the incarnation of primordial chaos. All right, so this is a Taoist concept. Primordial chaos which existed before the creation of the earth. That's who he was, born a man. Okay, we're going to get back to this. Now, Zhang Guolao's most iconic symbol is his magical white donkey, which he always rode backwards. The donkey could travel thousands of miles without rest, yet when not in use, what he would do is he would fold the donkey up into this piece of paper and then just put it in his pocket. Obviously very convenient. And then if he wanted to ride the donkey again, he would just take out the piece of paper, splash a little water on it. The donkey would pop out of the paper. Roar, let's go. And you're like, okay, but you got to turn around because I'm riding on you backwards. So now to make things even more interesting, when the donkey walked, him and Zhang Guolao would kind of enter into this different time dimension. So basically, they would be walking along. You look at them, and it looks like, I mean, it obviously looks weird because he's riding backwards on him, but it doesn't seem to be going especially fast. But they're moving in this different time dimension, and therefore, the donkey could travel like 1,000 miles a day, right? So he'd go somewhere in the morning, and then, he'd like leave New York in the morning and get to Chicago in the afternoon, no problem. So this principle, this idea, actually is kind of the same idea that we see in the Tai Chi exercises, right? In Chinese, it's called Tai Chi Quan. So you see them moving really slowly, but the idea is that they are actually operating in a different time dimension. And so supposedly, like the master of that, like somebody throws a punch really quick, and the dude just goes boop and blocks it, right? Because he's it looks like he's going really slowly, but he's actually going normal speed in another dimension, which would then be fast here, but looks slow here. Anyway, I think you get it. Maybe not. That's okay. Let's move on. Zhang Guolao possessed many other incredible abilities. He could make himself invisible and was known for magically granting children to childless couples. Oh, that's nice. Solidifying his place as a beloved figure among families. He is often depicted as an elderly man with a long beard, a floppy hat, so basically a wizard, and his, of course, signature backward-facing mule. He was actually backwards. The mule went forwards. Throughout the dynasties, word of this guy got around, obviously, right? Which emperor wouldn't want such, this powerful Taoist immortal that could do all this stuff and travel really fast and whatnot. So one famous story comes from the Tang Dynasty. Now remember, Zhang Guolao was born in the 8th century BC. The Tang Dynasty lasted from 618 to 907 AD, right? So he was born over 1,000 years before the Tang Dynasty even existed, right? So people had heard about this guy for a while. Anyway, early in the dynasty, the emperor asked Zhang Guolao to become his advisor, but Zhang Guolao refused. I'm a cultivator, I live in the mountains, I do my own thing, I don't really care about your politics and all that stuff. Then when Empress Wu took over, she invited him to serve under her, and he pretended to die. So when the imperial messengers arrived at his home, they found his body lying in the courtyard covered in maggots. It's horrible. After the envoys had left, they went back to the palace to report that, he's totally dead. He's got maggots all over him. That's the end of that guy. 1,000 years was just too much for him. After they left, he just got up, shook off all the maggots, and went on his way. So time had passed, and then a new emperor, of course, came to the throne. And now this emperor knew of a guy who was Zhang Guolao's friend. So he asked the friend to bring a message to Zhang Guolao. Now, when the friend arrived with the message, the Taoist stopped his breathing and died again. It's one of his tricks is that we're seeing, right? So the friend didn't know about this trick. So the friend was in shock. He was like, oh my goodness, right? Fell to his knees and wept, begging for forgiveness. Please, please. Of course, he wasn't really dead, right? So moved by his friend's sincerity, he sat up, he said, psych, right? Or whatever they said back then, right? In Chinese, it was maybe psych. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe probably not, though. Anyway, the friend apologized for intruding and returned to the capital, all right? He told the emperor, look, he doesn't want to come. He doesn't want to do it. And the emperor would not give up so easily, though, right? So he sent his personal secretary, the emperor's personal secretary, to meet with Zhang Guolao, bringing him a letter promising the Taoist he would not be pressed into service and that the emperor just wanted to hang out, right? And so this time, Zhang Guolao said, okay, cool, we can hang out for a bit. Right, so he did. He went to the palace. He entertained the emperor with his magic, and he told him stories of the immortal realms, right? Because he could go in between. He could basically go to these paradises and then come back and go back and forth, right? He could be wherever he wanted to. But an interesting thing is he never actually talked about himself. And after a while, the emperor got curious about Zhang Guolao's identity. Right, and he summoned. So at this point, Zhang Guolao had already taken off. He went home. He was like, "I'm good. I'm out of here. Peace. We'll see you later." Right, but the emperor was like, "Who is this guy? I want to know who it is." So he summoned his court diviner. Right, so a Buddhist, not a Taoist, but a Buddhist, and he asked him, "What do you know about this man?" The Buddhist replied, "I dare not disclose Zhang Guolao's true identity, for if I do, I will die." The emperor reassured him, "Don't worry, I will personally guarantee that you will not die." From the emperor, that's a pretty big guarantee, right? And the Buddhist said, "Okay, if anything happens to me after I tell you who he really is, you must take off your crown and your shoes," apparently there's something to that, "and ask the lords of heaven to intervene to save my life." The emperor agreed. The Buddhist said, Zhang Guolao was originally primordial chaos. He then absorbed the essence of the sun and the moon and took on human form. The Buddhist tried to explain further, but no words came out of his mouth. And then he dropped to the ground and died. Right? Shocked. The emperor, okay, what do I do? What do I do? Take off my crown, take off my shoes, kneels to the heavens, right? He kneeled and he's just begging, please, 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 save the Buddhist. I'm sorry. And just in the nick of time, Zhang Guolao rides up, backwards, of course, on his donkey, and he says, "Sire, this man knew the consequences for revealing the secrets of heaven." The emperor begged, I'm sorry, this is all my fault that he died. Let me take the punishment in his place. Moved by the emperor's integrity, he said, okay, I'll see what I can do. So he splashed some water on the Buddhist, and he immediately sat up, came back to life, sat up. And as Zhang Guolao was getting ready to leave the palace, he's like, I've had enough of you guys are too much, I'm out of here. The emperor offered him cloth, gold, and 2 assistants to take with him. So Zhang Guolao, he declined the cloth and gold. He didn't need that. He doesn't care about that stuff. He doesn't care about worldly possessions. But he took the 2 assistants. He's like, oh, these guys might come in handy, right? And so after they arrived at the foot of Mount Hung, where Zhang Guolao lived, he sent one of the assistants home. So basically, the 2 of them traveled with him. It was probably really hard for them to keep up, right? Because looks like he's going slow, but he's riding backwards. Maybe he was talking to them. Maybe they had magic donkeys too. I don't know how they got there, but they all got there. And then he sent one of them home, and the other one went up into the mountains with Zhang Guolao. All right. A year later, the emperor wanted to hang out again. Right. He started getting bored. Zhang Guolao was such a trip, and so he invited Zhang Guolao to come back to the palace. However, when the emperor's messenger arrived at his home, the The Taoist immediately stopped breathing, and you guessed it, he died. He died again. It's his old trick, but nobody seems to catch on. Now, right, you think they'd catch on, but the assistant apparently didn't even know about the trick. So the assistant is like, because the assistant was like, this guy is awesome, right? He's hanging out with this cool guy for a full year. And he starts to weep. He lights the funeral candles. He gets a coffin and he puts his master's body into the coffin. And after the messenger left, returning to the capital to tell the emperor what had happened, the coffin lid just blew off. Right? The assistant was like, okay, what's going on? He peeked inside, but Zhang Guolao's body had disappeared. News of the body disappearing reached the capital, and the emperor ordered a shrine to be built on Mount Hung to commemorate the primordial chaos that once took human form. So, according to the stories, according to the books, nobody has seen him since, so they all assumed he went back to being primordial chaos. Now, as a Taoist practitioner, Zhang Guolao emphasized inner alchemy. He divided internal elixirs into 3 grades, with the 9-turn Great Reversion Elixir being the most exalted. His methods combined breath control, meditation, and a philosophy of balancing essence and life force, making him a pioneer of later Taoist practices during the Song and Yuan dynasties. So he did leave a lot of information. Zhang Guolao's contributions extended to literature as well. Works including him were things like the Heart Seal Sutra of the Supreme 9 Essentials, be sure to read that, and the Golden Tiger and White Dragon poems. They're pretty good. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to talk about some of that stuff. Zhang Guolao remains a prominent figure in Taoist culture and folklore. His stories passed down through the generations, symbolizing the balance of chaos and harmony, wisdom and wonder. Zhang Guolao's legend is a testament to the enduring power of myth to inspire and guide. His story reminds us that even chaos itself can bring blessings, and humility can lead to redemption. What are your favorite tales of Zhang Guolao or the 8 Immortals? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, 再见!